Happy Thursday, everyone. We have an adventure for the core today coming your way. So I'm looking forward to it today. It's going to be a good time. To get us there, we have a little bit of primer work, plank knee to nose, 6 to 10 alternating reps with a 1 to 2 second hold in that compression position. Forearm plank of 20 to 30 seconds. Forearm side plank of 15 seconds a side. Arch hold for 10 to 30 seconds, and you hit that for 2 rounds. That is going to start that heat and that internal fire going to get you ready for the work set. Once we're done that, we're going to move down here again to this little triplet. Again, working on that core work again. So we're working with our tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds into our dead bug for 10 alternating reps at a 1 to 2 second pause on each rep. And I'm going to show you a couple different variations of that dead bug. And they're going to hit that RDL jump for 20 seconds per side. We did this yesterday to start kind of working on some coordination work, generate power with that unilateral work. It's just a fun little drill to play with. 2 rounds of that. I'm going to take down a practice round just to give you guys a chance to play with some different core work, kind of give you a sense of what you want to do for the workout, and then we'll turn you loose on the work set. So the work set today is V-ups and dumbbell suitcase march. What you will do, you will take down 20 V-ups or your variation of V-up. You will then do a dumbbell suitcase standing march, 30 seconds per side, and then you will go back onto the floor and 18 V-ups or variation of V-up. And you're going to work on that back and forth. So that standing march is going to turn into kind of a stabilizing rest for yourself, so it gives you a chance to open up your core a bit, but still use it as a stabilizer, but allow yourself to take a moment of just getting that body recovered a little bit, and then move right back onto the floor for those V-ups. You're going to tackle that until you've completed 10 V-ups and 30 seconds per side on that dumbbell standing march. So it's going to be a good time today, nice chance to work on some core work and a little bit of hip flexor work. So let's pause, let's get you warmed up, let's get you ready for action, and we'll have some fun with this core adventure today. All right, let's warm you guys up a little bit. We're going to start by just taking the arms up big and tall, big stretch overhead. We're just going to shrug those shoulders a bit. We'll pull them back down. We're going to take them out to that T position. We're going to turn them in, turn them out, turn them in, and out, and in, and out. Take it up overhead. We're going to scratch our back with one and reach through that side body. Come back to center, big stretch up. Scratch your back and reach. Good, we'll come back up. And we're going to forward fold. Take it all the way to the floor. Touch those toes. We're going to walk up those shins. We're going to come down, framing a foot. We're going to step into our lizard, and we're going to work a little bit of rotations. We're going to take that inside hand all the way up, and we're going to rotate forearm to the floor. Nice little stretch here. Take it all the way up again. Opening through the chest. Come back down. And one more time. Opening to that upper body, and then coming back down in that rotation. Good. We'll take it up one more time. Take that hand down. We'll step back into our down dog, reaching those hips, nice and set. And then we'll come back into our plank, stepping that other foot up, squaring up those hips. We'll take that inside hand to the sky, taking that body through that rotation. We'll come back up, opening, closing on that rotation. One more time, opening, and then closing. Good. We'll come back up. We'll plant that hand. We'll step back into that down dog. Reaching those hips, setting those shoulders, hanging out in here, just kind of feeling your shoulders a little bit. We'll come back into our plank. Tiptoeing those feet all the way up. We're going to roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae. Big reach overhead. We'll stretch it to one side, stretch it to the other side. We'll come back down with those hands. We'll get you guys fired up. All right, so if you'd like to kind of give yourself a little bit more gentle warm up, thread the needle, scat push-ups, cat-cows, just to heat up that midsection, that spine, please do so. Pause that video, take that down. We're going to get that core heated up and get you guys ready one step closer to the work set. So we're going to start by just getting that core heated up really well with our plank to knee to nose. So what we're going to do is going to get ourselves in that nice strong plank position. My feet are together, I pull my ribs in, press my shoulders up, so I'm in that nice hollow plank. From here, I'm just trying to keep my hips level. I'm gonna pull that knee straight up, rounding my shoulders, trying to bring that knee to my nose, holding for a beat, and then bringing the other side up, and coming back into that plank. Very important, we're working on that compression, all right, in that knee to nose, taking our time to hold that position, not just getting our knee up and bringing it back down, but holding and owning that end range there in that compression position. We can round the shoulders out a little bit, but we want to try and keep those hips a little bit more level opposed to lifting up. So we're just pulling that knee up through the midsection. From here, once we're done our 6 to 10 reps, we're going to move into our forearm plank. And we're just going to hold this forearm plank as is, no extra stuff. We're just going to work on starting by getting into our tabletop. We're going to bring our forearms down, pressing through those arms and pressing through those shoulders. Active, active, active the whole time. We're going to step back with our feet and continuing to press through those shoulders. We'll pull those ribs in. We're going to hold that forearm plank and just hold that stability work. Now, holding this time under tension, if you need to take a moment and take some pressure off the shoulders, we can lower the knees down. But you'll notice that doesn't change my core position. I'm still in that hollow. I'm still pushing through the shoulders. And my core really hasn't gone to break here from that knee to toe position. So I'd rather see if you need to take a break or start easing out of that full toe plank, lowering down to the knees first and then going into a break position. If you want to start on the knees, that's totally legit because again, we build that position, we build that time under tension. It's just going to take a little pressure off the shoulders when we're on those knees. From there though, we're going to transition to our side plank, and we can do this one of two ways. First things first, though, we're going to get into this laying position just so we can stabilize the shoulder. From here, we can keep the feet slightly bladed or one on top of the other. We can squeeze and lift that hip up, so we're lifting that hip up to the ceiling. Hand can be up to the side, cross, but we're trying to stay open through the hip and lifting that hip up. Now, if that's a little bit too much on the shoulder, we can shorten the lever of the body, bending those feet, and what we're going to do is, again, same thing, press through the shoulder so it's active, so we have this neck, we lift the hip up, we're going to hold this position, hand can go where it needs to go for now, and allow ourselves to hang out in this side plank position. Super, super important that we're focusing on that active pressure through the arms so that we're keeping our neck and we're not slouching into this shoulder with our neck and our body. So we want to make sure that we have a neck the entire time. Our last exercise is going to take us onto the floor, and we're going to work that arch hold. So we're going to work the back portion of the body. Arms are long, toes are to the back. I'm going to set my armpits down towards the floor. I'm going to squeeze my toes, and I'm going to inhale and reach. So I'm trying to lengthen my body as long as I possibly can. So my fingers are reaching, my toes are reaching, and I'm holding that position as I breathe. Now, if both hands and feet are a little bit too much for now, what we can work on is a unilateral movement. So we're going to inhale, reach, focusing on the length and using the opposite side of the body as a stabilizer. So it's going to help kind of hold that position down. And what we're going to do is we're just going to half the time for that arch hold. So just half on one side, half on the other. But don't shy away from using the opposite side of the body as a stabilizer to help put position in place. Now, as a quick recap, we have a plank knee to nose for 6 to 10 alternating reps, 1 to 2 second holds per rep. Forearm plank for 20 to 30 seconds, into our forearm side plank, 15 seconds aside, into an arch hold of 10 to 30 seconds, or that unilateral work, half and half. You're gonna hit that for 2 rounds. Pause the video, rock that stuff down. If you need to scroll back to get a few more kind of points of performance, please do so. That's gonna get things fired up and ready to go. We're gonna move into the next phase, which is gonna have us laying down for some and jumping up for joy for the rest. So pause the video, take that down, and then come along and join me for a little bit more core prep. All right, we've got that core heated up just a little bit, getting things fired up. we're gonna move into our next phase, which is gonna start on the floor. So I'm gonna get myself laying on my back. I always like to give myself a big, long, good morning stretch, just to kind of get myself prepped and give myself a moment to stretch out a little bit when I get down here. I'm gonna bring my feet up nice and flat. My hands are gonna be down the side of my body. I'm gonna pull my ribs in so my low back is in contact with the floor. I'm gonna bring my toes and knees together. I'm gonna pull them into this little tuck, and then I'm gonna bring my knees and shoulders together as I pull into that tuck hollow. So as I pull my knees together, pull my shoulders towards my knees, I'm embracing that compression through the midsection. This is gonna be turned on, hard and on fire. But once we get there, we're gonna work on extending our legs towards our head. So we get into our tuck, our hollow position. Now we're gonna try and keep those knees as close to the shoulders as I can, as I extend my legs out straight. I'm extending and pulling. And you'll notice that I'm pausing a little bit on either end of this movement. So I'm holding that extension position. It can be a little bit uncomfortable with those hamstrings depending on how fired up they are or tight, but we want to touch on that area. We want to find that balance and kind of own that end range of the movement. After we're done that tuck hollow, what we're going to work on is our deadbug. So we're going to work on opening up and balancing out the shoulder and the hip. So we're going to kind of relax down back to this position. Take a moment, reset the core position. I'll pull my feet up so I'm at about a 90 degree at the hip and the knee. My hands are going to reach to the ceiling. And then from here, I'm going to extend one leg, one arm, taking the arm and leg as long as I can, and then come back. Pause for a moment, and then extend the other side, working on that range as far as I can go, maintaining that low back in contact with the floor. So if you start to feel your low back pulling off the floor, we want to stop. We don't want to go as far anymore in terms of that lengthening. Now, a couple different variations we can play with as well. We can do this with a bent knee. So I can take my leg down just with a bent knee and then come back to center, focusing on that low back and just working on that limited range as I need to. And then a really neat little version that we can play with is with the dumbbell. So we're just going to be moving the legs and keeping the arms stable. So I'm going to take my low back against the floor. The dumbbell is being held above my shoulders for now. I find that nice 90 degree. And then I can take this dumbbell from right over my shoulders to slightly behind my shoulders and hold that position as I either lower with the bent knee or lower with the straight leg. Keeping that pressure into the floor while still pressing into the dumbbell. So there's a couple different variations there for you guys. I like that variation with the dumbbell. It's kind of fun because it does allow us to keep tension through the upper body, and you may find that you can turn those lower ribs on a little bit better that way as well. So experiment, have some fun with it, and then once you're done, we're going to stand up nice and tall, and we're going to revisit our RDL jump. So our RDL jump has three variations. One variation, all right, the first one is building the shape and the balance. So whatever leg is going to extend back is the arm that's going to reach forward. Now I'm loading my balancing leg, and I'm going to come up into this nice Mario position. Nice and slow, nice and steady, working on balance and working on the shape and the movement of the position. Now the next variation, I'm going to start introducing some momentum, and I'm not going to leave the ground just yet, but the back leg is going to come through a little faster and pick me up off my heel. So again, I load the same leg, I get ready, I come through, and I get that vertical lift with that leg. That's going to pull me off my heel just briefly and come back down. Now the third variation is that follow through. So I build the shape, I build a little bit of momentum, and then I follow through with the foot and the ankle. So what that's going to look like is getting set, I load the same way, I swing through the same way, and now I just follow through with that momentum with the ankle and get a little bit of vertical lift. So the big thing with this, you guys, is keeping in mind this is not meant to be done quick. You can keep it relatively steady, but I want you to think of them as single individual reps. Don't try and just link them together and go really fast. We want to make sure we're loading, staying balanced, and maintaining that good body position. Quick little recap on that bad boy. We have tuck hollow with extension for 20 seconds, Deadbug for 10 alternating reps at a 1 to 2 second pause, RDL jump for 20 seconds per side. All right, working on that skill. We're gonna hit that for 2 rounds. Pause the video, take that down, get yourself balanced out, get that core fired up again. We're gonna move into a little practice round that's gonna show you a couple different variations of core work. We've made it to the practice round. What we're gonna have for the practice round today is a really good opportunity to play around with some movements, give yourself a nice chance to play with the core work and really enjoy. So I'll have a couple different options on the bottom of the workout set for you guys when it comes to that nice core work set. So check it out, play with one, play with both, see which one you want to do, and then we'll tackle the workout. The workout today is 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10 V-up with the dumbbell Suitcase March in between 30 seconds per side. So let's go over the V-up options. The V-up options today, we have quite a few. Now I want to kind of reiterate that neither of these options are better nor worse. They're all just slightly different. So I do encourage everyone to kind of experiment and play with these different reps and these different styles and the different workouts we experiment with, because they all offer their own little piece to the puzzle. So to start off with, we have our V-up. Our full V-up, legs are straight, arms are overhead. We get that nice kind of closing, meeting midway through, and keeping that body nice and still as we kind of shift, bam, right in the middle. Good control, good positioning. Now, if 2 legs is a little bit too much, we can work on a single leg variation as we reach up to that toe, and we work on reaching that body up tall, trying to touch our toes or our shoelaces. And we want to try and keep the legs behind the hips so that we're meeting in the middle with our torso and our lower body. Our other variation, if that V up with the straight legs a little bit too much, is our tuck variation. So same style, we lay back, we come up, we find that midway point, and we have that nice tuck position as we experiment with that. If double is a little bit too much, we can play with single, same idea, meeting in the middle, working on creating a little bit of momentum through that upper body, and meeting in the middle with those legs. Now, if that hinging is a little bit too much, we want to work on that same snappy kind of compression, we can work on our hollow up. So our hollow up, we have 2 variations. We can pull those ribs and hips in, pulling that low back into the floor, getting that nice little pulse, that nice engagement. And then from here, nice and single, back and forth, maintaining that good position as we find that little bracket shape. So we're not coming up very high, just enough to get those shoulders off the floor and that heel off the ground. Now, if we struggle with our upper body portion of the V-up, now this is normal and this is kind of pretty common. We have 2 variations. Again, one of which is very slow and is meant to be slow, so don't try and speed it up. It's meant to be very slow and kind of methodical when we do these, a lot of compression. But is our laying toe touch. So we get ourselves in this laying L position. Our ribs pull in a little bit to stabilize, and then I'm going to continue to compress as I squeeze those ribs in, lifting through the chest, trying to tie my shoes with my fingers. I'm probably not going to get up to my laces, but that's what I'm always shooting for in my mind. I'm always trying to get to those laces as I compress that core. Now our last variation is a little bit more dynamic, and it's focusing on that nice smooth reach and those straight legs, which is the Pike Sit Up. So my toes are together, I lay back, hands touch, I sit up, I try and reach as far down the legs as I can, as I work on stretching out my hamstrings and working on that nice aggressive kind of flow that we need in the V-up or the tuck up. So again, neither of those options are better nor worse than one another. They all offer a little different piece to the puzzle that's going to help build that core to a nice whole piece. Now in between those movements, we have a nice standing Suitcase March. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick our dumbbell up and we're going to hold it to one side. We're going to focus on stabilizing through the shoulders and the core, and we're just going to make sure our from waist up is completely still. It's as still as we can make it, and we're just going to shift our weight and lift our legs up one at a time, working working on that march. So we're shifting our weight onto that leg. That leg is nice and balanced, nice and strong, so we're not buckling as we lift the knee up. We're keeping that balancing leg strong. Not necessarily locked out like a stick, but we're keeping it straight and extended so it's nice and strong and balanced. Once you're done 30 seconds, you'll transition sides and you'll continue moving. If you'd like to transition the dumbbell as you march, you can. Just make sure you don't smoke the object that you're using because that would hurt your knees. Just make sure you're keeping it clear of those knees on that high lift. Now, with this workout, you can slow things down a little bit, not make it about intensity, try and get it done as fast as you can. You can really take the time to build that core engagement, like I say, with those laying toe touches. Those are a little slower. You take your time with that core work, keep it clean, keep it strong, and really focus on good compression work there. Or you can try and just nail it off really fast with a little bit more momentum in that core work. Again, neither is better nor worse. It's just going to give you a slightly different kind of feel to the workout and what you want to get out of it. So pick how you want to take it down, have fun with it, and work for that good, strong quality with that core work because it's a nice way to get some stability built up through here and some different things that we can transition into our gymnastics movements later on down the road. I hope you guys have fun with this one, you guys. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a good adventure. So this is going to set you guys up really well. So again, I wish you happy day, working for good quality, and a really good day of rubbing our bellies in total glee and happiness. Have a great day, you guys. See you soon.